Three women, three graves. Grace was raised in London. She lived by herself in a 2-room flat. She died when she was 81 years old in 1989. And her home was a museum piece. A museum of a working class family in the mid-20s. She lived in an apartment that had no electricity, no plumbing, no running water. They found a newspaper from 1929 and a newspaper from 1953. They checked some things out and they found out she was in the hospital for a short period of time in the 50s, but other than that, she was alone. The last relationship she had, the last friend she had was that of her father. And when her father died, she was absolutely alone. They found her lifeless body months and months after she passed away. Let's move from London to Yacolt, Washington. Barbara purchased a plot of land in 1977. She was a contractor by trade. She wasn't friendly with her neighbors other than to wave, but she didn't have relationship. One of her neighbors drove past and noticed that her driveway was overgrown with weeds, and so he investigated and looked inside a window in her small trailer, and she was dead. And she'd been dead for over a year. And she was mummified. Her body weighed 71 pounds. She was unknown. And I can't help but wonder, how did you get here? Why such extreme solitude? Who hurt you? Was being alone better than the reality that the world had offered you? Why did you check out? Why did you leave? Why were you hiding? Was the world just that awful? Those are two graves. And the third grave was in Palestine, and she was alone. The story is found in John chapter 4, and Jesus comes across a woman who's out at a well gathering water in the midday heat. Now, sociologically, all the women show up in the morning when it's cool. They show up to be together, but not this woman. She needs to be alone. She was a loser. She was a divorcee many times over. Nobody cared. The guy that she was living with at this moment didn't have the courtesy to offer her last name. And so she was alone. But Jesus spoke in such a way that she didn't die alone. As a matter of fact, the woman that came from the village all alone to be alone, when she met Jesus, she ran back into the village and she says, "Come with me, come meet a man that told me everything about myself." Could he be the Messiah? These three women, all alone, all empty, all cursed. Of the three, one found life, one found hope, one didn't die alone. And the difference was Jesus. She found hope, she found meaning, she found new life when she found Jesus.